Hello everybody, thank you guys for tuning in to this video. My name is Cole Marnes, and in today's episode we'll be talking about the NFL in week 7 now. Week 8, excuse me, week 8 in the NFL. As we are still trying to, there's quite a few teams still fighting for spots, and some teams making some turnarounds as well. As last week, I'll talk about my numbers for that one, as I went 9-5-1. If you don't know about the 1, whether there's a 1 at the end, it's because of the tie between the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals last week. And a lot of people didn't like the game. I thought it was one of the best games I've ever watched in my life because I love defensive battles. They're so fun to watch. But that is why that 1 is right there. But a good week for me for 9-5-1. I'll take that any day of the week. And now we'll talk about the bye weeks for bye teams for this week. As 6 teams on bye this week. As New York Giants, one of the teams on bye, had a 4-3 record and just a win against the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams also on bye this week, as they are 3-4 going into their bye. They lost to the New York Giants. Miami Dolphins with a bye this week, as they are 3-4 right now, and after having picking 2 victories in a row now, with a win against Buffalo and Ajayi, with two great running games going into this bye week, with 200-yard rushing games. Baltimore Ravens head into their bye week 3-4 after losing 4 games in a row, as their last loss against the New York Jets, and a team that needs to figure something out during this bye week. Another team needs to figure some stuff out during this bye week is the San Francisco 49ers, who go in 1-6 on their bye after losing to Tampa Bay last week. They have lost 6 games in a row, and the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into their bye week 4-3 after losing to New England. So anyways, let's go on here in our part 1 of the NFL Week 8. And if you want to see part 2, you can click on the link below right in the descriptions. As let's get going here with game number 1 of Week 7. As it's Thursday Night Football, as we had the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Tennessee Titans. The 2-4 Jaguars come in after a loss to Oakland last week. As a team that seems like they have some good things going for them, but then they just fall back a little bit. And every year I kind of think this Jaguar team is going to take a step at some point and make a run for the playoffs, but it just seems like they cannot do it somehow. Is it the quarterback in Bortles? I think Bortles can do a good job. He's an average quarterback, but I think if you give him enough time in the pocket and give him enough weapons around him, he's got the receiving weapons. Running back, I still think is going back and forth right now, which is an issue for him. But if you get this team going, I think the Jaguar team could be pretty good in the future. And for the Tennessee Titans, they picked up a loss to the Indianapolis Colts last week at it and put their record to a 3-4 record. And Titans, another team, I feel like they can have a good thing going for them. They just can't get a foot in the ground. Well, luckily for them, both these teams are in a bad division, the AFC South. This is an AFC South battle between these two on Thursday Night Football. And if I'm going to pick a winner in this one, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. At home, I like this team. They have, again, the Titans, the one thing they do have good going for them. Mariota can have his good games, and they also have a good running back in Murray. And I believe this could be a good thing for the Titans in this game, going against a Jacksonville defense that can be an on and off from time to time. But I think the Titans have a good team in this one. I think they have the better team in this one, offensive and defensive wise. As if they should be able to stop the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, running game, and would force Bortles to pass the ball more. And we know he can turn the ball over from time to time. And I'm going to have the Titans picking up the win over Jacksonville in this one, 24-14. Then we head to our morning game, as once again the NFL will be going to London, as at 9:30 on Sunday a.m. I should mention, at Eastern Standard Time. We'll have the 4-3 Washington Redskins taking on the 3-4 Cincinnati Bengals, as Washington's 4-game winning streak ended as they lost to Detroit last week. And we also heard that Norman got a concussion in that game, so it'll be interesting to see if he's going to be playing or not against the Bengals, which would be a huge loss if they don't, especially since the Bengals have A.J. Green, of course, as Bengals got back on a winning track as they picked up a victory against the Cleveland Browns, as 3-4 at this point in the season is not a hopeful record for Cincinnati Bengals. Luckily for them, they're only still 2 games out behind Pittsburgh, who's at 4-3. So, that's a game out of behind Pittsburgh at 4-3. So, still some hope there for the Bengals to win this division. And it's when I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals, especially if Norman does not play. I believe this offense is going to light up on this Washington defense, just like the Detroit Lions did last week. And I believe the Bengals and A.J. Green will have a big game, and they will pick up the victory against the Redskins, 28-24. And our next game will head back to our 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time games on Sunday, as the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Indianapolis Colts. Kansas City picking up a win against New Orleans last week as they had to 4-2 record and try to take over the top of the AFC West as three-team battle right there as Oakland and Denver are competing against. And for the Indianapolis Colts, they picked up a victory against the Tennessee Titans, making their record to 3-4. As once I mentioned, another team in the AFC South that has been struggling lately. And Andrew Luck got things pretty good game for him last week as he was able to get things going. And West as well, I should mention for Kansas City, as he's been doing a great job filling in for Charles at running back. And Charles only had one play, I think, last week, even though he's considered healthy. So it should be an interesting thing to keep an eye on if West is going to be now the starting running back in Kansas City. And this one, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. That defense, very, very good. And it's hard to see that this Indianapolis Colts team will be able to beat them. And I wouldn't be surprised again if West has another good game. This Colts defense, not the greatest in the world. So I'm going to give the Chiefs a win this one, as I will say they're going to win this one. We're going to go 21-17. And then we head to our next game as the 4-3 Detroit Lions take on the 4-3 Houston Texans. The Lions were able to pick up again against the Washington Redskins last week and now improved to a 3-game winning streak, as this Lions team is looking more and more impressive every week after having a struggling beginning of the season. I think they finally got the chemistry going, and Matthew Stafford has looked brilliant so far this year. And right now, I would have to say he might be maybe the MVP of the league right now after the way he's been leading his team up down the field for winning drives this year. And then for Houston, they took a big loss to the Denver Broncos, as Houston not looking that good last week, as that's why they only had about 100 yards passing on 40 attempts, which is the second lowest total yards for throwing over 40 passes in NFL history. And I swear I don't know if he has his good moments and his bad moments. He's just not consistent. So it'd be interesting to see what he can go against this Detroit defense, who again is another team who ain't really consistent. But in this one, I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions winning this one. This team is on a roll, and I think they're gonna keep it growing here. This Houston team is starting to struggle now, and I believe Matt Stafford's gonna have another great game. And no surprise if Tate and Marvin Jones have over 75 yards each through the receiving in this game, possibly maybe both of them have 100 yards in this game receiving. As I have the Lions winning this one 31-24. And in our next game, we have the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills, as we had a rematch earlier. This is a rematch for a game earlier in the season where the Buffalo Bills beat New England at home 16-0. As the Patriots now, this time having Tom Brady back in this game after picking the win last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers and moving their winning streak to a 3-game winning streak and going to 6-1 on the season. And Buffalo taking a pretty embarrassing loss to the Miami Dolphins, but the Miami Dolphins team is looking pretty good lately. They allowed 200 yards to Ajayi, that he had another good game rushing for 200 yards again. And the Bills, so they're starting to get on that struggling streak again here. But another big win against the New England Patriots could get them back up again, and they're right now at that 4-3 record. And a huge game as well because it's an AFC East battle. But I had the Patriots winning this one. Tom Brady has looked brilliant right now ever since he's came back. Has not thrown an interception. I believe he has 9 touchdowns on this season so far. And I believe Brady will have another good game here against a pretty beat-up Buffalo Bills defense that surprisingly has done better than I thought they would so far this year, though. But I had the Patriots winning this one against Buffalo 28-17. Our next game, we have the 5-2 Oakland Raiders taking on the 3-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oakland last week was able to pick up a victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars, as once again this team looked very good. As Latavius Murray, coming back from injury, had a very good game, rushing for 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards in that game. And Derek Carr looking very good again. As Tampa Bay was able to pick up a win against the San Francisco 49ers, a struggling San Francisco team, but Winston and company were able to get the job done. As Rodgers was once again of another great running game, as he was able to run for, I think it was over 120 yards in that game, as he's had 2 big weeks in a row now for Tampa Bay. And in this one, I'm going to go with the road team, the Oakland Raiders. I like the way that defense has been playing so far this year. They've been on and off too at some points, but I believe this is a game they're going to be on against a Jameis Winston who loves to turn the ball over from time to time. I believe this is going to be one of those games where he will turn the ball over. And you can't go against this Oakland offense where Crabtree's been doing a great job. Cooper having an average season compared to last year, but Cooper's still doing a good job. Just his offense is on its stride right now. I have the Raiders win this one 24-14. And our final game of part 1, we have the 3-3-1 Arizona Cardinals taking on the 1-5 Carolina Panthers. Now you might be asking why I said 3-3-1. is because the Arizona Cardinals picked up a tie with the Seahawks last week, as now they will have to try and fight now even more, try to catch up to the Seahawks, who are now 5-1-1, which we'll talk about in the next segment. And for the Carolina Panthers, they had a much-needed bye last week after starting out the season 1-5, and their chances to go to the playoffs are very, very slim right now. But Cam Newton Company trying to make a big win here against Arizona Cardinals. And in this one, this is a tough one for me because I think the Carolina Panthers could come back and pick up a victory in this one. If I had to pick someone, I think I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals this one, because just that offense, I think they can get things clicking here, especially against a struggling secondary of the Panthers. Unless the things got things cleaned up pretty well this week, I just see this offense just lighting up on the Panthers defense. And Cam Newton, it should be interesting to see if he can compete with this Arizona defense, as it's not a game you want to have coming back from a bye week. And I have the Cardinals picking up the victory in this one. We're going to go with a 27-14 victory. And that is it here for part 1. Again, if you want to watch part 2, you can go down to the descriptions below and click on the link down there. If you guys want to leave any comments below, who do you think is going to win these games I mentioned this week? Who do you think right now is the best team in the NFL? Who do you think is MVP of the league right now, as we are pretty much at the halfway point of the season? Love to hear what you guys got to say about anything on the NFL. If you guys want to also talk to me on Twitter, you can do that at ColeMartins57. I love to be talking about the NFL during the game, so if you guys want to join along and talk with me about that, you can tag me at ColeMartins57, and I would love to talk to you guys about all that. Again, if you didn't hear me the first 2 times, it is at ColeMartins57. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see some more of my NFL videos, you can subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate both of those, and thank you guys for tuning into this video. You guys all have a great day.